Welcome to the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investing Show, where I interview the nation's top real estate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and other amazing entrepreneurs to help educate and inspire you to take your business and your life to the next level. My goal is to add tremendous value to you during every single episode of this show. If you get value, I'd love it if you subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, and my very favorite, please share this with your community so we can impact even more entrepreneurs. Let's start today's show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm here with my good friend, Randy Wolfe. We're Cabo buddies. We've been doing some cool stuff together. I had him out at my ranch recently. He's a member of Investor Fuel. We're going to be talking about, at the end of the day, everything we do is about helping other people. And I'll let Randy tell his backstory, but he has experience being a teacher and a coach, got into real estate investing, and has kind of found that his real passions are teaching and coaching. And so he's mixing that back in from a real estate perspective. But we'll dive in here shortly. Randy, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you. So we were just talking about what we're going to talk about today. And I think some of it we realized that we're both, you said, well, I'm a talker, like I am too. So that's why I have to do a little bit of pre-planning, because we could probably talk for hours about this stuff. In fact, we have done that. So we're going to have to have the abbreviated version today for this show, buddy.
100%, man. If I start talking too long, you can play the music, like the wrap it up music.
We'll get the hook out. Yeah. So, hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background for those that don't know you yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So, married, got my wife is Catherine, who got to hang out with us down in Cabo. Two amazing kids, Jack, who's 15, and Lightsey, who just turned 12. And I graduated from the Citadel Military College of South Carolina. Go Dogs! And once I graduated, or my degree was in education, and I was really I really wanted to coach. I was passionate about athletics, and I was a wrestler and a football player, and so got my degree in education. Got a phone call senior year. It was kind of crazy because I had three goals. One was to become a head coach. Two was to go back to my alma mater. And three was to win a state championship as a head coach. And got a phone call from my athletic director, and he said, "Hey, the position is opened up for the head coaching job. Would you be interested in interviewing?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And so went back to interview for it. And funny enough, so it was my previous principal and the athletic director, Dr. Sharon Budden and David Meesmore. When I walked in, she said, I went to go sit down at her desk. And she goes, "No, you don't have to sit there anymore, Randy, that naughty Jess. You can actually come over here to the conference table." So I thought old habits, I guess, but got the job and started out, teaching and coaching, and was very passionate about the coaching. And at the time, I knew my wife, she graduated from the University of South Carolina and got a degree, but she really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And so I knew that if we were blessed with children, it was going to be hard for me to do that with a teacher salary and a coaching salary in South Carolina. So I started trying to figure out what I was going to do, and got my real estate license in 2005. I thought that was kind of what you do if you want to invest in real estate. And plus, I was going to try to just sell some houses here and there. And then my dad, he got involved with, he'd been in insurance for forever, owned a business at one point, but he was telling me about this new thing called Medicare Advantage. And he said, "You should get your license." And I remember thinking, like, that's not sexy at all, but he always gave me great advice. I said, "You know what? I'm going to listen to the old man." I got my license and was dabbling with real estate and insurance while I was teaching and coaching. And I was doing that on weekends, on Saturdays and in the afternoons, and, sold some houses here and there, sold some land, but really insurance took off. And so I ended up going pretty heavy with that, built an insurance agency, and ended up having to quit coaching, which was tough. I did coach at a private school my last couple years, and ended up winning a runner-up state champ 2 years in a row. So I almost hit my three goals. But then basically, whenever I had some success with the insurance business, but I got kind of burned out, to be honest. I was just running really fast, and read some books. It's kind of cliche, I know, but I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and that just changed the game for me. And I'd been dabbling a little bit with real estate, bought some land, but I decided that, I told my wife, I was like, "Catherine, I'm going all in on this." And she's like, "All right, here we go." So got going with real estate. First 3 years, I ended up buying like 30 rentals, had like some crazy flips that went wrong, and Yeah, that's kind of leads up to today, and then now it's kind of coming full circle where I'm, kind of helping new and aspiring real estate investors learn how to invest in real estate and kind of helping them get started.
When you were a teacher and you started the insurance business, it was really just it started as a side hustle, and then once you kind of proved it out, then you were able to jump over. Is that right?
100%. I was literally, Mike, I was selling insurance after school. So I was a coach. So I would literally drive all over the state after practice, and I wouldn't get home some nights till 12 or 1 o'clock. But what was amazing to me is I realized, and it's when I really learned that I love business and entrepreneurship. Like I could make as much money as hard as I was willing to work. So at that phase, I was just grinding, and
Yeah.
yeah, it turned into very quickly. I started out, it was funny. I started out, I was like, if I could just make enough in insurance commissions to make my truck payment. And then it became, if I could make enough to make my mortgage. And before long, very quickly, I was covering my mortgage, my truck payment. I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate some things.
Yeah. Is that when you got the Lambo?
That's when I got the Lambo. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a
Rolling in
question.
the
So
Lambo.
obviously somebody, folks that have an athletic background, that will to win, right? They tend to are willing to work really hard no matter what it takes. And that's part of your story. So not everybody can have a side hustle. Like there's a lot of people that aren't willing to aren't willing to kind of work double time
Yeah.
to make it happen. And so whenever people ask me, especially, in coaching newer people,
Yeah.
like, do I need to quit my job to get started in real estate investing? I will say that I've seen a lot of the most successful people went all in and burned the boats and just did that. And I've also seen a lot of people that if it's a side hustle, they give up on it because there's just not enough hours in a day, and they're willing to work harder in their day job than they are on their own dreams. Not
Yeah.
everybody, but that's a common scene. So what are your thoughts on like real estate investing as a side hustle to kind of learn your way and maybe jump in eventually versus burning the boats and going all in?
Man, that is a really good question. And I think that you definitely can see it both sides of it.
Yeah.
So just based on my own personal experience, I was willing to do whatever it took. I didn't care about, like, obviously as I've gotten older, I don't want to be grinding all the time, but then I was just willing to grind and do whatever it took. So I think from a perspective of real estate investing, if you're looking at, depending kind of on what their overall goals are as well. So if they're looking to, maybe build a rental portfolio or something like that, that could be something that maybe they could continue to work and continue to have that income to where it can help them with loans and stuff like that. And so I think in a sense that could be a good way, but you run into, like you said, the situation where sometimes it's just, real estate investing, entrepreneurship is really not for everybody. And
Mhm.
I think one of the common themes that I see is most people who are successful are 100% driven. They're committed to doing whatever they need to do. And it's just like, I'm going to be successful at this. And so I think that right out the gate, and a lot of times going back to the athletes have that drive. They're accustomed to saying, hey, I'm gonna work hard, especially wrestlers. I mean, we'll outwork anybody. And so I think that, like, when you look at it from that perspective, if you have an athletic background, I feel like you kind of do have this understanding that you're going to kind of do whatever it takes to be successful. The other thing I'll say real fast too is, interesting enough, with athletes, you have a schedule. Like, you have a date that the season starts and you have a date of the first competition. So like with wrestling, like, that first match is coming up. And so if you're a new wrestler, for example, and you start out and you don't know anything, you're going to get thumped. You're going to take your licks. And when it comes time for that first competition, there is no, I'm not quite ready yet. You're going to go out there and you're going to get your licks in. Or if it's football, I used to see kids' eyes light up whenever it's time to do tackling drills and they never tackled before. And so athletes just get in there and they do it. With real estate investing, if someone's getting started, they can say, well, I'm not really ready yet, or, I'm not really ready to start a business, or I'm going to hold off. And then they just never get started. So,
Yeah, I think there's this thing with a lot of entrepreneurs. Again, like you said, not everybody should be an entrepreneur, but there's a thing with real estate investors, or probably all entrepreneurs, that they're afraid to lose,
yeah,
and losing is part of the process. Those are stepping stones to how to improve. So you have to just jump in and, as you said, get your licks. Like
yeah,
you've got to get those reps in. You've got to learn some hard lessons. Another thing that I'll say that I think about a lot of athletes is there is like an after action review. There's a process where you go back and you revisit how you could have done things differently. And
Yep.
that is a skill that is critical for entrepreneurs as well. Like you have to be able to like look back at what you did and improve on it, improve, improve, improve. It's a process that never ends.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that, well, it's like my talk at Investor Fuel Live, it was this different seasons. It's like that off season, you reflect and say, okay, what adjustments do I need to make? What I need to do in order to improve for next season. And so, yeah, I think that that's definitely, I think that constantly improving and getting better. And, again, it's unfortunate, but so many people never get started. Like whether it be entrepreneurship, real estate investing, they don't take that massive imperfect action and get started. And that's what prevents a lot of people from having success.
And it also creates a lot of guilt. Like I wish, or
Yeah.
remorse. Like I wish I had, And it's like, why didn't you? You
Why
could
didn't you?
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk. So when you jumped into real estate and even probably the insurance side, like a lot of the focus was on helping other people. And at that
Yeah.
point, you would spend a significant amount of time helping people. I think no matter what you do, no matter what business you have, like it's all about serving other people, right? I mean,
Yep.
that is how you get fulfillment in life. And that's how you make money is by
Yep.
solving other people's problems, right? And
Yeah.
so you shifted from helping kids, get educated and coached and stuff, to selling insurance to then real estate, which is all about helping people. I mean, there's a common theme here, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, helping others and being truly passionate about that. I mean, it's like, you and I become good friends, and I know that you truly enjoy helping people, and you can see it in other people that they really enjoy that. And that was one of the things when I look back at coaching, uh, there was a sense that I got to continue to compete, which is something that's very important. I enjoy that, and I think competition is a good thing. But there was also this sense that I could really help these athletes and see them get to a place to where they're having success. And selfishly, I got a lot out of that. That made me feel good. I'm like, wow, this is great. I'm helping them. And, but obviously it was doing a lot of good for them and helping them with their confidence. And then I had guys going and, compete in college, wrestle and play football in college. Had a guy play in the NFL that I coached. Like, so it's definitely, helping others, I think is, what is the old Zig Ziglar? If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything you want, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
And I think one of the things that's missing, I mean, real estate investing, when you buy from sellers, typically in a distressed situation, you are helping people. But probably one of the pieces that was missing, I'm guessing for you, is that every person you help is in and out, like in and out of your life.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
generally no like relationship built where you stay in touch. I mean, they're kind of moving on and you're moving on, and there's no real relationship there other than it's a transactional relationship, right? But if you, and I think that's one of my guess is one of the reasons why you're getting back into coaching is you miss coaching people, but you also miss being a part of that journey that you get to stay a part of for a period of time versus just a one-off seller. Is that fair to say?
100%. That's so accurate. And, being able to, we help people whenever they are in distress, need to sell their house. Like, we help them so that they're not going through foreclosures and stuff like that. But it is just so transactional. The odds are you're probably not going to have another transaction with someone like that in the future. Whereas if you're coaching someone, you get to kind of go through that journey with them and build those relationships. And I mean, I can honestly say a lot of my athletes, they got married and I went to their weddings and they have kids and, I'm still involved. My right hand guy that works for me, I coached him in high school, and he went on and wrestled in college. He got a degree in psychology. I said, man, what are you going to do with a degree in psychology? He said, I don't know, coach. I said, well, come work for me for a while. And so he's been with me. He's been with me for over 10 years now. So, it's those relationships. That's what it's all about, helping others and building those relationships.
Yeah. And as a coach too, you get to teach, as a teacher and a coach, I guess, you get to teach what you know. So you've done enough deals now to
Yep.
where you can both coach and instill the knowledge you have and share it with other people. And so I just know from talking to you too that you have a soft spot for helping people that are hard workers. I mean, just like I think you
Yeah.
said, when you were a teacher, you weren't making a lot of money, right? So people that are working hard, that are kind of servants of other people,
Yep.
but they're just never really going to be financially free in those roles. But you've kind of found a better way that you can help them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's kind of like we were talking about before. I think real estate, I think, is a tool. I think entrepreneurship, business, it's a tool. At the end of the day, the outcome that I really want, and I'm using real estate as a way to help them accomplish, but the outcome is to help them have a better life and be able to live the life that they want to live. And so, we live in a world where let's just be real about it. In order to do a lot of these things, you need to have the financial resources to do that. I wish that you know, I wish that wasn't the case maybe, but it is what it is. And so for people to do the things, and everybody's different. Some people love their job. And for those, if they're a firefighter, a police officer, and they love what they do, that's great. A lot of people don't, and they want something more, and they want to have the ability to, take their family on vacations and travel and do these things, and then ultimately kind of go full circle and hopefully help other people. They get the resources and the ability, then they give back to their community, their church, they help other people. And so, it's kind of a full circle thing. So yeah, I think, that's helping other people, you know, get to the kind of life that they want, and then hopefully they'll give back to others and kind of pay it forward. That's the idea.
Yeah. And it's pretty common though, as I guess, as people that are in public servant type jobs, especially firefighters and police officers and folks like that. Like it's pretty common that they have a side hustle or another
Yeah.
job, especially
Yep.
firefighters, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and teachers, it's a perfect opportunity for teachers too. I mean, I was a kind of a freak because I was like working all the time, and in the afternoons, like I had practices, and then I would drive all over South Carolina selling insurance. It'd be nights that I'd get home at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have to be at school the next day. But I just did it, and I did it on Saturdays too. But, teachers have the summers off. So there again, a lot of times there's opportunity that they could do things in the summer, or if they're not coaching, particularly like they get out of school, they have some time in the afternoon. And so, yeah, I think it's, a lot of people now. I mean, you think about what people do to make an extra few bucks. I mean, driving Ubers and doing all this other stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, I think that's great, but you can literally build wealth with something like real estate. Like you can change your entire life. I mean, you could even, if you think about it, you can even change. I mean, it could be something that's generational. Like you could completely pull, if you have a family that's been in poverty, you could literally change the direction of future generations of your family, which to me
Yeah.
is amazing to think,
Yeah. So how do folks balance? I mean, when you coach on this, how do you coach people that are in roles like that they're treating this as a side hustle? We just talked about going
Mm.
full time or not, but if they go part time and it's a side hustle, like they still have to treat it like a full time business, right? If a seller calls you and wants to sell their house, you can't say, "Well, I'm working right now. Can we talk tomorrow?" Or right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
how do you? That's one of the things that I've always told people is like, look, if you do it part time, you've got to treat it like a full time business. But how do you advise people on that? What are some
yeah.
tips?
Well, yeah, I think that's 100%. Like you got to treat it like a business, and it needs to be something that, particularly when it comes to any type of sales, you've got to be quick to when you have someone that's raises their hand that wants to talk to you to respond. And I think it goes too with depending on again what they're trying to accomplish, what their goals are. So if it's something to where they're trying to if they're trying to make enough money to leave their job, and I think too, let me back up. I think too that people, when they think about, they look at kind of what they're trying to accomplish. Sometimes it's like, okay, where am I right now? What do I need to do right now to move forward to get to that point? So maybe someone does really want to like build reoccurring income, build wealth, that sort of thing, but maybe they have no money right now other than their job. And it's like, okay, and they don't like their job. It's like, okay, well, what do you need to do first to replace your job? And so then that becomes a conversation of like, okay, is it wholesaling? Is it trying to, which I mean, having a full-time job and trying to do fix and flip would be very difficult. But what is it? What can you do now to replace your income? And, or it may be a situation where it's even like, hey, in order for, if they're trying to maybe do rental properties, they could totally do that, but having the ability to kind of set up our property management, these things, and then have a way to market that's going to be more conducive to the fact that they're working a full-time job. So,
Mhm.
some of the things like it's really hard to do this obviously for houses. But some of the things, I mean, it's like people like Joe McCall talk about having mail that goes out for land and it goes to a voicemail, and then they're calling them back. Or now you can have answering services, which some are better than others. But basically, though, at the end of the day, it's figuring out how you're going to get to the next step, taking action, first of all, not thinking about it for a bazillion years and not doing anything,
Right.
like taking action and then correcting course along the way, but treating it as like, hey, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Cause like we were talking about earlier, some people it's hard. For me, it is when I make up my mind and I'm going to do something and I'm like, I'm in, it's, it's like jump out of the plane and figure out the parachute on the way down. Like I'm going in.
Right. I
So,
think that's one of the problems that a lot of people have is, and I'm dealing with this with my son who's 18. Like he's here and he sees where he wants to be in 10
yeah,
years or whatever, right?
yeah,
And doesn't see the clear path for like what to do tomorrow, right? And so
yeah,
I think a lot of people are like that. They see whether it's social media where they see everybody's kind of like success reels and they
yeah,
don't see all the hard work. And so what I found myself saying a lot lately to a lot of people is like, look, you don't have to figure out from A to Z. You just got to get from A to B. And
yeah,
and and that's one of the benefits of having a coach or a mentor or somebody that guides you is like, look, I know where you want to be, but let's back into what do you need to do tomorrow to get there. And so
yeah,
don't worry about like hitting a home run like next year. Let's
yep,
figure out how to swing the bat over the next week, right? Just kind of
right.
just get started and start moving down that path. It builds up your confidence and it allows you to ease into it instead of having these huge aspirations that I need to go from making $50,000 a year to a millionaire in a year
Yeah.
or I'm not successful. It's like, what world does that even make sense in? But people say stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, that's hits it right on the head because people get so caught up in I want to make millions and millions of dollars, invest in real estate, do all this stuff, and they can't get out of the starting blocks because they're just so overwhelmed.
Right.
And it's like going back to if they have a full-time job, one of the things I recommend is say, okay, like, there's so many things that we have to get into on the podcast, but there's so many ways to generate leads. And first of all, the big shock, I think, to most people, whether it's any kind of sales, whether it's insurance, whether it's real estate, is you are in the marketing beat. Like your job is to generate people to talk to. I remember it's so funny when I got my real estate license, like trying to like really digging into the contracts and learning and all this stuff. And it's just like, my broker at the time, it was actually my wife's uncle. I said, hey, I think I'm going to maybe focus on selling houses on the lake, multi-million-dollar houses. He's like, that's great. Good call. I was like, I've been studying everything. And he's like, great. That's like, so what's next? And he was like, you got to go find them. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought I did the hard part by learning but it's basically setting these, as we call them, KPIs, like, it's like, okay, I can't guarantee that this week I'm going to get someone to sign a contract with me, but what I can do is I can go drive for dollars and I can make sure that I'm coming up with at least 50 properties this week that I'm going to send mail to and I'm going to skip trace and call. Like that is like, and I think that would be the advice to say, hey, no nonsense, non-negotiable. You have to set these KPIs that you're going to do and you're going to do them. And then that will end up leading to the contract, which will lead to the deal making money, which will lead to, further down the
Yeah.
path. Yeah.
Yeah. But it all starts back to what we talked about helping people here is you can't help people if you don't talk to them. You gotta,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of crazy that people think that way. They're like, well, I
Yeah.
just want to, there's a house in my neighborhood that I think I
Yeah.
might be able to, like, has got long grass and I might be able to buy it. And it's like, yeah, that's not really a business. Then
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
like talk to people like that as frequently
Right.
as possible, like many times a day. Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's like in the insurance business. I mean, I had a lot of agents and, newer agents, particularly, I would tell like, hey, if you take a rock star agent, like this really good high close rate, knows his stuff or whatever, and you put that agent in front of 5 people, and then you take someone that's just sort of so knows, so whatever, but you put him in front of 500 people, the so guy, he's gonna have more policies because he's talking to more people. And so I think that
Right.
that's something that gets overlooked, particularly with new and aspiring people, is they don't realize how many conversations you need to have that are going to ultimately lead to a contract, which is ultimately going to lead how many contracts to a deal, how many, and so, yeah, that's something that I think is surprising to new people. But if they just, and Investor Fuel, we talk a lot about it, like systems and processes and breaking things down. Like if they just have these things that they do and they get it dialed in, they'll start to figure out, okay, if I talking about driving for dollars, if I do this many houses, this is going to lead to this many conversations, and this many conversations leads to, and they just sort of reverse engineer it versus trying to think, I got to start out this year and make $5 million. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I know what you're doing some coaching now. I've obviously done a lot of coaching, do a lot of advising and stuff through Investor Fuel and other things that I do. Is I think we're also in this age where a lot of people just say, well, I can get all the information I want online. I can go watch YouTube. I mean, truthfully, through Investor Fuel at this point, we've done over 3,000 podcasts. Like there's no shortage of information out there.
Right.
The problem is it's not in the right order for the problem you're having right now. Like when
Right.
you get stuck, you need to be able to phone a friend and get unstuck instead of like, well, I watched YouTube videos all night to try to figure out this one problem.
Yeah.
And you might get through it, but it's definitely the hard way. Like there's no shortage of information out there. That doesn't mean it's a owner's manual for like, where do I go now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that there's a lot of great information on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel. I put a ton of work in. I'm like, as of the time of this podcast, I'm literally putting out content every single day. So definitely want people to check it out. But at the end of the day, there's so much information online and on you, and it's like, is the information, number one, is it going to be something like you said? Is it timely for where you are at that moment?
Right.
A lot of times things are different perspectives, not necessarily saying it's wrong, but like people may have different perspectives on things. And so you're getting different things that you're hearing. And I think the biggest thing more than anything else is the fact that you may know what to do, but you just need to have that sense of community and accountability and someone that's going to be there to help you. It's like everybody, everybody knows what it takes to have a six pack, healthy diet, exercise. But why do so many of us now, me included, like, why, we know what to do. So it's like, well, if you just need to know what to do, then you should have a six pack. But it's like, but you go and you get a membership with a personal trainer, you're going to have a much higher chance of getting to that six pack and so that's just kind of the idea. But that and community, I think community is such an important piece of it too, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it helps you overcome, you got all this mind junk, like,
Yeah.
and false beliefs on what's possible, right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, speaking of community, you've been in Investor Fuel for a few years now. Would you mind
Yeah.
just sharing a little bit of a testimonial or your experiences being a part of Investor Fuel?
Absolutely. I'd love to. I think for me, like, there's so many things that I've enjoyed about Investor Fuel, and, you know, there are the obvious things. There are tangible benefits that we get as members in Investor Fuel. So, the 100% financing and different vendors that we can do things with. And so there's the tangible things that are great. And I don't want to like sleep on that. And then there's also the people in the group that we have to come speak. I mean, I mentioned Robert Kiyosaki earlier. He's been there. We've had all these like some of the world's best investors that are stopping by to speak at events and our meetings and stuff. And that's amazing. I think for me, the biggest thing has been the people and the relationships. Honestly, like you said, we were just hanging out in Cabo, having a good time, having some, it was very laid back, but we had some great conversations in Cabo. I think that building the friendships, we mentioned earlier about the transactional stuff, like being a real estate investor, being an entrepreneur can be a pretty lonely journey. There's a lot of times where I'm geeked out. I want to go to Catherine and tell her about this huge deal I'm working on. And, she's like, that's cool, but like, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? Like, it's just, so you get to this place where you just, and it's hard to have other people who aren't doing kind of entrepreneurial stuff and investing. If you're just talking to some people, it's hard for them to kind of relate to some of the things that we all relate to. And so, I think the people and the relationships for me have been the most valuable thing. And I sincerely mean that. And, getting to be friends with you and just the other members in the group has been great.
Yeah, I appreciate that, buddy. So, if folks want to, you're obviously doing some coaching now, creating a lot of content. Give us some links if folks want to learn more about you or connect in some way. Where can they go?
Yeah, man. So I have, it's randywolf.org/links. If they go there, that pretty much has all of my social stuff, my Facebook and Instagram and all that. So randywolf.org/link. I definitely encourage people, because I'm working so hard on this, and it is hard. Please, I'm begging you, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe to that. It's, oh man, I should know. It's like, if you Google Randy Wolfe Real Estate, it'll pop up, but it's on that randywolf.org/links. It's on there. But I'm putting out a lot of content. I'm literally putting out now, content every single day. And it's educational. It's geared towards new and aspiring real estate investors. But even if you're an advanced investor and you just want to help a guy out, go check it out and subscribe. And
we'll get the links on the in the show notes here. So
awesome.
Man, I wish you nothing but the best. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I appreciate it. Enjoy catching up, man. Looking forward to catching up at the next event.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody, hey, thanks for joining us today. There's a lot of ways to make money in this world. Few are probably as big of an opportunity as real estate if done right? And there's a lot of ways to serve other people as well. And it's a really important part of real estate investing. Is we all want to buy houses. We all want to make money. We all want the financial freedom, but it all starts with serving somebody else and kind of helping them first, whether you're buying houses or ultimately whether you're coaching people how to do the same thing. So hope you got some good value from today's show. We'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing on your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. You can also check out the show's notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and even how to work with me directly one-on-one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you on the next show.